Best character development.
I've said a number of times throughout these reviews that the character development is really good, but there's one character in particular who seems to develop far more than any of the others, Prince Zuko. I'm not really going to be able to show you any scenes to demonstrate why I think he should get this award, because I would pretty much need to show you everything that happens to him throughout the entire series. In each season, he always seems to become a different character, but given his past and what happens to him in each season, you can understand why he ends up changing so much. It's not as if they just change it because we said so. You really do get to understand what he's having to go through, and you really sympathise with him, and you can understand why he ends up changing so much and why he ultimately ends up becoming so confused. It's very well done, very well put together, and he easily gets this award.
Biggest disappointment.
Though I say biggest disappointment, it is probably my only disappointment. There are a few unresolved matters and unanswered questions, but there's one thing that I was actually really disappointed with, and that involves Iroh. He used to be a general in the Fire Nation's army, but he retired in the series, and he was powerful enough to be given the title the Dragon of the West. In the third season, he's locked in a cell, and he secretly starts working out, and when the guards come close, he pretty much acts as if he's gone senile. And it cuts back to him quite a few times to see him working out, and it gives up quite a big build-up for, we're left to assume, his escape. But what the disappointment is when it does flick back to him, you get scenes like this.
You used to be the pride of the Fire Nation, our top general, the Dragon of the West. Now look at you. Look what you've become.
Considering how powerful he was when he was just some old retired bloke, what the hell is he going to be like now he's like that? And the more build-up comes when you get this scene.
Lunchtime, General Iroh. And this time, I brought you an extra bowl of rice.
Thank you, Ming. Your little gestures of kindness have made my days in prison bearable. I think you should take the rest of the day off.
What?
You don't look well. Maybe you should go home and rest.
No, I feel fine.
Trust me, it is better that you are not here this afternoon.
But then, what do we get a little bit later on? This.
Uncle! Where's my uncle?
He's gone. He busted himself out. I've never seen anything like it. He was like a one-man army.
Yeah, they did his escape off screen. Why would they put so much build up to something and then not show it? They could have had a really epic scene, but they just really phoned it in. I was so looking forward to seeing him in a proper good action, but we never got it. There were a couple of scenes a bit later on where he does do some really good stuff, but it's too little too late. So I'm not going to give the award to Iroh himself. I'm going to give it to the people in the production scene who thought it would be a good idea to leave that scene out. Shame on you.
Biggest surprise.
Technically this would probably be the second biggest surprise, but I thought that giving away the actual biggest surprise would be a bit too much of a spoiler. So instead I'm going to go with what ultimately happens to Azula. She is a very powerful firebender, and she pretty much controls everyone with fear, like this.
Princess, I'm afraid the tides will not allow us to bring the ship into port before nightfall.
I'm sorry, Captain, but I do not know much about the tides. Can you explain something to me?
Of course, Your Highness.
Do the tides command this ship?
I'm afraid I don't understand.
You said the tides would not allow us to bring the ship in. Do the tides command this ship?
No, Princess.
And if I were to have you thrown overboard, would the tides think twice about smashing you against the rocky shore?
No, Princess.
Well then, maybe you should worry less about the tides, who've already made up their mind about killing you, and worry more about me, who's still mulling it over.
I'll pull us in.
Thing is, in that sort of situation, most people who control others through fear would have gone over to them, lifted them up by the neck and threatened them completely. But Azula doesn't need to do that, which is what makes her so cool. All she needs is a simple thing like that, and people know she means business. If she said she was going to kill you, she probably would. And which is why what ultimately happens to her in the end is a really big surprise. I'm not going to give away what happened to her. All I'm going to do is show you this.
Best voice.
Whenever I watch an anime or something, I always have to watch it subtitled, mainly because the dubbed voices just do not fit the characters as well. There may be the odd exception where it's not too bad, but even then the original voices are much better. It was quite nice to have an American cartoon where the voices fit the characters really, really well. But there was one character where his voice not only fit him really well, his voice was just awesome. And this award has to go to Long Fen.
I am Long Fen, head of the TLA. I understand you've been looking for your bison. It would be quite a shame if you were not able to complete your quest.
Oh, I love that voice. The character in this, he is very conniving, very clever, and he just pretty much plays everyone to his own favour. And there's one other scene I'm going to show you that will prove not only how conniving he is, but how well his voice also fits him.
I'm very disappointed in your work with the Avatar and his friends, Judy. I had hoped that you would be able to control this situation.
I'm so sorry, but they don't trust me anymore. I don't think I can keep working like this.
Judy, the Earth King has invited you to Lake Laogai.
I am honored to accept his invitation.
Good. Now go await further orders. If the Avatar keeps searching for his bison, it could upset the delicate balance we've worked so hard to achieve in the city. It could even cost us control of the Earth King.
Should we take care of him?
No. It's much too dangerous for us to confront him directly. Let's see if we can still handle this quietly.
The character himself was really cool, and it was a shame that he was only in it for a few episodes in the second season. He's one of the characters where we never actually find out what ultimately happens to him, we're just left to assume stuff. Then I was sort of hoping that he would make an appearance in the third season, but unfortunately he didn't, and it was a really big shame. But his voice is amazing, suits him well, and it's so cool.
Wrapping up.
There are so many things I like about the series that we could be here all day just making things up that I could talk about. I can go into things like how creepy the bloodbending episode is, how good the final battle is, some of the little characters who should have been in it more and things like that, but it would just be doing it for the sake of it. There's so many good things in this that I would highly recommend this series to anyone. I could make up all sorts of awards just to show certain scenes, like which one's got the best intro, which incidentally would be this one.
How could you do this to me? You betrayed me!
You brought this on yourself. I had no choice.
I was going to do a best fight scene award, but there are so many good fights I wouldn't be able to pick one. It's a bit too obvious to give it to the finale, so I thought maybe picking 2 or 3 other ones to show, but even then I couldn't decide which ones to pick. There are so many good scenes in it, not just fight scenes. There is so many good things that happened throughout the series that it is one of my all-time favourite series. Season 1 is a little bit slow, but enough happens to keep you interested all the way through. And by season 2, it just flows together so well and picks up so much that it starts to become brilliant. Season 3 is definitely the best one, not just because of the final battle, but it's just so much more epic than the others. Absolutely fantastic series, and I love it. I am looking forward to the Legend of Korra, but I'm slightly worried that maybe they've changed it a little bit too much. What I love about this series seems to have been taken out of the next one. It seems that everyone's in one big city, and there's some sort of a revolt, so it sounds like it's going to be a bit much like the X-Men. I'm sure it will still be great, but I'm not sure whether or not it will be as good as the original series. I am still boycotting the film, so I'm not going to be watching that anytime soon, if at all. Overall, though, fantastic series. Watch it. It's brilliant. See you next time.